How you guys doing? I'm Levon Whitaker here with another episode of Sports With. Man, what a crazy week and a half it's been since the NBA draft happened, ladies and gentlemen. It's been something special. In case you haven't heard, Chris Paul is now a Houston Rocket. If you follow my Sports With page on Facebook, you may have heard that I said that earlier the terms were agreed upon, but nothing was complete yet. I also made the mistake of saying that nothing was final until July 1st, but because he's been traded, it can be final, and it is final, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Paul is a Houston Rocket. Also, I'm sorry to hear that Jimmy Butler is now a Minnesota Timberwolf. Not in the sense that I feel bad for the Minnesota Timberwolves, but I feel bad for the Chicago Bulls. You lost a very great player for a little of nothing. You got cheated. I think he'd be great in that organization alongside Andrew Wiggins and Karl-Anthony Towns, and if they decide to keep Ricky Rubio, who is a leader on that team. Can be a leader, a much better leader. Now, Phil Jackson, he's been fired as the president of basketball operations. And someone asked for my take on this earlier. I think they did a great job by getting him out of there. The man stunk up the place for 3 years. They paid him $60 million, and he laughed at James Dolan in the beginning when James Dolan continued to give him offer after offer after offer to get him to come to New York. And you just let him run the check up. Keep running the check, keep running the check, keep running the check. All right, deal, I'll take it. And he came in there and he drafted Kristaps Porzingis. Name one other thing he's done besides give the guy Kristaps Porzingis the nickname the Unicorn. Name one thing he's done. They've been under five. They haven't been a 500 team in the last 4 years, and they've been well below it in the last 3 years. $60 million from a $3.6 billion team. And you mean, Tim, you can't bring anybody to the New York Knicks organization? I mean, you're 11-time champion as a coach, Phil Jackson. 2-time champion as a player, Phil Jackson. And if you don't know what the president of basketball operations does, take a look at what Magic Johnson has done in the last year for the Los Angeles Lakers. He's done a great job. That's what the president of basketball operations does. They acquire players, they scout, they make sure the team is in good hands, they make sure that it's good team chemistry. Phil Jackson doesn't want anything but for the New York Knicks to run the triangle. And if you don't know how to run it, if you never ran it, you're out of luck. I mean, since they lost D'Antoni, they've been well below 500, like as I said it before. But nonetheless, James Dolan got him out of there, and I hope they acquired a young man from the Toronto Raptors, who's going to be a very high cost since he just got a raise. I hope they acquired him from the Toronto Raptors. He's the guy that that allowed the trade to happen between Carmelo Anthony and the New York Knicks back when he was in Denver. He's been with the Toronto Raptors since 2013, so I hope they acquire him and Mills. James Dolan and Mills gets him over to New York. Now, Chris Paul, Paul George, Gordon Hayward, Carmelo Anthony, the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's a lot of work to be done. It's a lot of work to be done. First off, I'm going to start with Chris Paul. I'm glad they acquired Chris Paul. I think he'd be great alongside D'Antoni. But, as I said it before, I don't know how much this is going to do for the Houston Rockets. The reason I said it is because now you just put yourself in a better place to contend in the Western Conference Finals against the Golden State Warriors. But it doesn't get you to the finals. Same thing that happened if Gordon Hayward goes to the Boston Celtics. And then Paul George either joins the Houston Rockets or the Boston Celtics. I don't think that this gets them, either one of those teams, to the finals. And I said it because you still have to face LeBron James. You still have to face the Golden State Warriors. The issue with Paul George joining either one of these teams, well, Boston, you got to build it. They're planning on building around a 5'10" point guard in Isaiah Thomas. And I love the guy. I love his tenacity. But you think they're really going to be able to build around a 5'10" point guard like Isaiah Thomas? I don't think so. Gordon Hayward, Paul George, very elite players, superstars. I think they're great, but they're not going to be able to. It's just not going to get them to the finals just because you add Paul George and Gordon Hayward to the Boston Celtics. Not to mention you have to give up a A.V. Bradley or a Jay Crowder to get both of those guys. Now the same thing with the Houston Rockets. You're just going to be contenders in the Western Conference Finals, but you still got to face Golden State or the San Antonio Spurs before you even get to Golden State. So that's the setback with either one of those teams. But here's why I said that Paul George should go to the Cleveland Cavaliers or Carmelo Anthony. I think they should both go. I hope D-Wade, my favorite NBA player, goes to the Cleveland Cavaliers and gets him another ring. But here's why. NBA players look for three things when they're elite like Paul George and they're going to join another team to win the championship, because they have to build a superstar team, because that's the standard that the Golden State Warriors have set. You're not going to just get by with two stars on the team or two superstars on the team. But here's why. The NBA players look for three things: comfortability, they look for money, and look for the team that can contend for a championship. They want to be champions of the NBA at this point. You can't wait and sit around with your head in your butt when you got the Golden State Warriors, got Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green. You can't just sit around like that. So that's why I think that he should choose the Cleveland Cavaliers, him and Carmelo Anthony. If you know what's best for you, that's what they'll do. I don't think that Carmelo will go to the Cleveland Cavaliers, though, at this point, because he's comfortable with James Dolan. He likes James Dolan. He likes Mills out of the front office of the New York Knicks. He likes the guy over in Toronto. He's done a great job with them over the last 3 or 4 years. So I think he stays in New York and takes the money. I hope he doesn't. It wouldn't be smart, but that's what he might do. I'm Sports Wit, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show.